Hello and welcome back to the formal part of the training where we're going to be looking at the revivification. Now don't forget about your eyesight and your voice because we're going to make that practical right now, show you exactly how to use it and why it was important to cover first. So what I mean by the revivification? Well, essentially what I mean is we're going to use and revivify a memory that a client has had. But there's a certain type of memory that we are going to go for. There's a certain theme to this memory that we need that becomes more hypnotic than not. Now, when we're working with clients, yes, we want to be very, very ethical. Their safety is our utmost importance. So just by saying that, you can probably guess the type of memory that we're going to be choosing or needing them to choose for us so we can actually show them what hypnosis is about and actually hypnotically put them into a hypnotic trance with conversation. So there's certain memory, or the type of memory, the theme we're going to call it, we're going to add to this memory, is we need a memory of safety. We need a memory that was pleasant, maybe happy, and a memory that was relaxing. So consider this. What's more relaxing to somebody, do you think? Someone laying on a beach with the nice sun rays on them, watching the water? Or someone climbing the top of a mountain where they're scared out of their wits because they're worried about falling? Which do you think? Well, if you said the beach, I'd have to agree with you. But sometimes clients going out of their way to do something dangerous is more relaxing than sitting on the beach. But in most cases, we're going to go with the beach theme. Now, I'm not saying we have to take them back to the beach, but just to show you the theme we're going for. So the first part of the revivification is very, very simple. Once we've asked somebody if they're happy to go through something hypnotic or we've got a bit of compliance, they say, yeah, I'd like to give something a go. It's very, very simple what we do right now. All we're going to ask your client is, have they had a safe and pleasant, relaxing experience before? That's the first question. So what this does, if you can look at this as an analogy, is telling the unconscious mind what type of memory I want them to access. They have trillions and trillions of memories throughout their life experience, and I'm saying throughout all those memories, narrow it down to where you felt safe, happy, and relaxed. And that's important. So once they say yes, we're halfway there, believe it or not. If they can't find a memory or they're struggling to find a memory, the best thing you can do is try and describe a bit of where they could have been. Maybe they're on the beach, maybe you found yourself on holiday, whatever the case may be. Just give them a bit of a nudge in the right direction that lets them know what type of memory or what type of experience they need for you to put them in trance. It's very, very simple. So once they've said yes, what you need to do is realize that I've already learned about my voice, I've already learned about my eyesight, I'm going to start to use my eyesight straight away. The trigger I want you to have in your mind, as soon as someone says, yes, I have that type of memory, so you need to think, yes, all right, I've got you in a place where the first part's done. So right now, I need them to pay more attention to me because the next set of questions is really, really important. So I'm going to look straight at them and I'm going to gather their attention and I'm going to continue to ask the questions that I need to ask to get them to where I need to go. So the next part, once they've said yes, I'm going to simply ask them a what, when, or where question. Right now, this is the conversational part. This is, I'm having a conversation with you. And the covert elements are coming into it because they think I'm just having a bit of a conversation. But realistically, what you're doing is you're allowing that memory to start to grow and be relived and be revivified. So I'm going to ask them, what happened? Where were you? What was occurring? Well, I was laying on let's use the beach scene. I was laying on the beach in the warm sand and I was watching the water. It was really, really relaxing. So the next part's done for me. What we call this is a chunk of information. Now, a new little technique I want to bring up right now before we move on is what I call the echo effect. The echo effect helps revivify the memory and brings it back to life. So as the word implies, I need to echo this back to them so they agree with me and it starts to become a part of the conversation. Now, knowing that I've just taught you about your voice, it'd probably be a really good time to start using that hypnotic voice. So let me role play this for you. Client says, yes, I've had this experience before. And I go, so what happened? Where were you? What was occurring? Oh, well, I was laying on the beach. I was drinking a nice soothing drink and I was watching the water. Okay, so you're on the beach and you're laying down and you're drinking that nice soothing drink and you're just watching the water, right? And it was feeling really relaxing. It was relaxing enough just to lay on the beach and drink that nice soothing drink and watch that water. And you could feel that relaxation, couldn't you? So that's the hypnotic component of it. What I've done right now is I presented their idea back to them a couple of times and I'm putting my hypnotic voice on. So right now what they're going to do is start to go, well, yeah, that's what happened. And already it's like a suggestion. If you've heard of a hypnotic suggestion before, they've just said yes and agreed to my suggestion. So you can hear little suggestions in there. It was soothing, it was relaxing, you're watching the water, you were laying down, you could feel that relaxation. And I've just repeated back what they've said, but I've put my hypnotic voice into it so it starts to become a part of the hypnotic trance. Then I'm going to ask another question, which is, what happened next? What else did you notice? Well, I was laying on the beach, I was drinking that drink, I could see the water, and I started to feel that relaxation, and I noticed that I was just in a place of absolute tranquility. It was peaceful, and I was just absorbed in the moment. Okay, so there you are, you're laying on the beach. Let me just get this right. You're laying on that beach, you're feeling relaxing, and it was just a peaceful place. You're getting absorbed just in what you were doing right then, and you're drinking that nice soothing drink, weren't you? And you're watching that water and becoming absorbed in the moment, weren't you? And it was relaxing, wasn't it? So there we have it again. What I've done now is I've taken the first part or the first chunk of information, added to the second chunk, and done the same thing. I've just repeated it back to them. Now I'm creating a story for them. Now I'm going to do this a couple of times. So what am I looking for here? What I want my client to do is paint me the picture. I want to know inside my mind as they're talking to me, I want to know exactly what was occurring, what were they seeing, how were they feeling, and I want them to describe it to me in as much detail as possible. There's no detail I want them to leave out. I want them to tell me every last part of it. I want them to tell me how they were feeling, what they were seeing, what they were experiencing, what they were noticing, maybe what they were tasting or smelling, or even feeling. I want it all. And every time they give me back a little bit of information, I'm going to repeat it back in my hypnotic tone while staring at them. Because remember, I want that interaction, I want that conversation, and I'm going to do this in a way that I can repeat back the story. They're essentially saying, my memory was this. I'm getting their memory and saying, hey, have your memory back, but have a hypnotic twist to it. Feel what it feels like when I repeat these things back to you inside this hypnotic voice. Now, how do I know this is working? What sorts of things am I going to see? Well, let me introduce you to hypnotic cues. Hypnotic cues are when you start to see someone going into the memory. Usually what you start to see, if they're standing or sitting, you'll start to see them relax. You start to see maybe their eyes blink a little bit more. You'll actually hear them start to slow down. And this is what we call the hypnotic trance or the hypnosis starting to occur. So the more information you get from your client, the more you repeat it back in this hypnotic tone, the more you keep presenting these ideas over and over and over in that slow hypnotic voice, the more they're going to feel it, the more these cues you're going to see. So once you start seeing these cues, what you need to do is the next step, which is tell your client to close their eyes. And it's that simple. They haven't gone completely into hypnosis. Sometimes your clients will have, but what you need to realize is they're right there. They're right on the edge of going into hypnosis. And by closing their eyes will add to the impact. But what do you do next? What do you do next once the eyes are closed? Very, very simple. It's where a lot of hypnotists go wrong. So they stop talking. What I want you to do is keep talking to your client. Keep talking about the ideas, what they're seeing, what was occurring over and over, and start to paint the picture back to them. That's it. You're going to keep talking. What's this going to do? It's going to revivify the memory bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till they're there again. Once you see them start to absorb in the memory, you need to simply ask them a very important question. This is where the feedback comes into it. You need to simply ask them and bring them back into the conversation and say, what do you notice now? What else is occurring right now? Now notice what I did with my language then. I didn't say what were you seeing or what were you noticing. I'm saying what are you noticing now? What is occurring right now? And if the response sounds something like this, well, you know what, Scott, I didn't notice that there's people actually walking around me right now. I'm feeling more relaxed than I was on the beach, and I'm noticing the sun starting to set. It's so beautiful. So what's occurring right now? Is the memory starting to come back to life? All the parts of the memory that a client tends to forget are starting to be relived. So what we want to do, we've got some new information, is repeat it back and just say, that's right. You can feel more relaxed, can't you? And you can see that sunset. And it's beautiful, isn't it? It's starting to help you relax more. And those people walking around is really adding to the experience. And it just feels good. And I'm going to keep on talking. And I'm going to do this for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, so I can start to see them there. Once they're there and I see that they're starting to absorb the experience, they're starting to become relaxed, I'm going to just sit there and I'm going to be quiet for a moment. because what I want you to realize is that they need a bit of time to absorb the message. They need a little bit of time to absorb the scene, and I'm going to let them sit in there for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Then after a bit of silence, when they absorb the message, I'm going to tell them to come right out so they can have a chat to me. I'm going to find out what exactly happened, and that's the revivification itself. It's a very, very simple method. Now, how's the conversation come into it? Well, I've had an interaction. Where does the covert part come into it? Well, the echoing part, the eyesight, the voice becomes the covert style that we've used to activate a conversational hypnotic trance. So that's it. That's the revivification in a whole. What I want to move on to next is just a couple little troubleshooting methods. Before you go and actually use this method, follow the steps as they are. It seems like I've gone through it very, very quickly. That's it, because it is simple. There's not a lot to it. It all comes in your voice and your eyesight, and that's what's most important. So move on to the next video. I'll show you a couple of troubleshooting methods to play around with, and so you'll never be stuck for what to do next. We'll see you in the next video.